Everybody ready? Okay.
See.
Everybody's...
Chair squeaking.
Here we go.
Thought Lou froze again for a second.
Shut the fuck up. Just shut up.
Look, he looks the same.
Just stop talking, Chris. It's not hard. You just stop talking.
You need to start.
We can start the podcast.
You need to start. This is just like when you were going to start the countdown and you're just like, all right, ready? And then you
I'm
just
trying
waited.
to give an empty spot between the start and us talking, so like our editor is like, cool, I got the starting point. Now he's got all this bullshit in here because you won't stop talking. Is that better? Am I getting angry better now?
Yeah, it's better. Also, everybody else stopped talking, so now it's just on you.
We're gonna start now for real.
Are we starting anytime soon? Like what's
Yes!
Are we going? What's going on?
Feels good.
All right.
Shut up!
I think it's working.
Yeah, I think we're good. Podcast is back.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to Mike's Hard Gamecast. I am your host, Mike Apocalypse Brock, and joining me today for his first ever public interview, coming from Big Sky, Texas, where in some parts he's known just simply as the Snake Charmer. Nope, sorry, I misread that. The Trouser Snake Charmer. It's Luis Salazar.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, hey Lou, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for that beautiful and well thought out introduction.
Well, thanks for joining us today.
I only feel a little disappointed I was not thrown off because I knew it was me all along.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Joining us also today, fresh off of his couch and possibly wearing pants, and ready to reminisce with you about times only he remembers. It's Chris Saul.
What's up? I'm glad to be here.
What's up, you guys?
I mean, I'm a little disappointed you didn't have a long, elaborate introduction for yourself. You just said Mike Apocalypse Brock.
It's true. True. I kept it simple this time around.
The first time.
Kept it easy for the listeners. I'm sure it'll get much more convoluted and off the cuff shitty as we go on.
I would not doubt it. Is that just like the whole thesis for the podcast in general, or?
Yes. Now, most podcasts improve over time. Our improvement will go down from here.
Every episode, just worse and worse.
Dwindling.
What's up, you guys? Welcome to the podcast.
We are podcasting. It's happening.
It's true. It's the 2020 thing to do.
I have huge news, you guys. Huge news.
Huge.
I've started the beginnings of an herb garden.
What?
Oh,
You're
snap!
gardening?
That's a 2020 thing to do too.
I mean,
That's true.
I have only 3 things right now. I have spearmint, lemon thyme, and basil, which are
Basil's
good
good.
staples.
Lemon thyme. I don't think I knew that was a thing.
It is. It's good. Why are you not doing rosemary, which is the true perfect spice?
Exactly. Good question, Mike. Thank you for following up with my huge news. It's sold out everywhere I've looked.
Is it really?
Incredibly,
Oh, wow.
yeah. Even seeds have been sold out. So I'm thinking about just ordering from Bezos,
Oh, God. Well, here, I'll show you my assortment
Oh.
of fresh
Some of those
herbs.
Some of those are looking a little less than fresh.
Well, they're drying out. You got to dry them out, and then you can...
I understand the way.
Oh,
herbs work,
I see.
But I appreciate that.
my basil
is
is about to flower, so that's
Ooh, I love fresh basil. I will eat that shit off a bush. Like,
fresh basil is definitely dope.
I mean, that's the idea, right? You want it like that?
Are you growing them in like a planter in your kitchen, or is it outside in your brand new yard, or do you have like a hydroponic system? What's the
It's
deal?
outside in the little like
aquaponics.
No, it's not a fancy setup. It's like 5 smaller pots
It's
and then
not
like
a fancy
one larger
setup.
one.
He dug a hole and threw some plants in there, and he's hoping it works.
I mean,
No,
for
not
some
quite
people
there.
that does.
Lou saw a picture online, and he went to go recreate it in his backyard.
That's what
No,
you do.
It's like,
Well,
this
that's
is
what you
how
do.
dirt and plants work, right?
Pinterest.
Since my dad is here, he's like a wizard of agriculture, so he's been helping me
He's a druid.
kinda with all that stuff. We did a little, like I bought one little basil plant off of Lowe's, and we had three. Now we have three, plants off of that one. So
Nice.
it's nice money wise because basil is quite expensive. If you
It
keep
is,
buying it,
and it's delicious to cook.
and
with.
I've been getting a yield pretty much every day, which is fantastic. And also helps it grow, by the way, because every time
It is,
yeah.
it is a little hard to grow in the winter.
Yes, that's what I've
Which is
heard. I've
around
heard
the
it's a little
corner.
finicky. I wanted cilantro, and cilantro is also difficult to grow.
Ooh,
This is
sponsor.
fascinating talk. So I'm
No, it's
glad.
real. This is real stuff. I mean, so wait, it is very lucky though on your part, like you were saying, that your dad is there. Because I don't know about you guys otherwise, but I like plants a lot, and I definitely have a black thumb, if you will. It is very hard for me to keep plants alive.
That's why you only have cacti.
I'm
That's why I have fake plants in my house.
yeah, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure he's got all the fake plants in there.
A couple of them.
I'm not so great with plants. I'm much better with animals. Like we have chickens, and I have fallen in love with taking care of those chickens.
Are they laying eggs yet?
They are just about the age where they should start laying eggs here soon.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
should
gonna be dope.
Hopefully in the next week or so, we should be getting free eggs. We got
How-
3 of them right now. One turned out to be a rooster,
Nice.
Okay.
and it hasn't quite figured out how to crow yet, but it kind of makes this screaming, dying noise every morning. Yeah.
Phenomenal.
That's the same noise I make every morning.
It's true.
So when that starts happening, you're just gonna go out back and no.
No.
I guess we'll see. We'll check back. Check back on a later podcast date. Check. So you have 2 hens and a rooster, correct?
Yeah, and
currently?
we're technically not supposed to have roosters in the city limits, so
Oh.
Mm.
Have you separated them yet, or not yet?
nah, not yet. They just
No.
live in a little place together. Actually, as soon as it starts crowing, it's probably going to go off to another place outside of the city where our friends can have roosters and stuff. So
Another
Yeah.
place outside the
It'll
city.
be.
it's going to go live on the
Air
farm.
quotes.
I'm sure
Yeah.
it'll be delicious. The place he goes to. Easy living. Oh yeah.
Nobody eats rooster. Okay.
Oh, I don't.
Not
I
with
don't
that
know.
attitude.
I don't know. Yeah. Think
Oh, man.
positively, Mike.
So,
Come on.
hey, let's talk about some video games for a second.
What? I thought this was a gardening and home life podcast.
This is about adult life, Mike. Who adults and games?
Adult
Okay, they have no place with each other.
Well, at least at any point in our lives, 2 out of the 3 of us have played games.
Somebody's playing games.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. What are you guys playing?
I have to look something up. Quick interjection. Sorry. Go ahead.
I've
Take 2.
been playing.
What are you guys playing?
The things I stick to are AFK Arena at the moment, which is a nice mobile game, and I play Hearthstone, mainly Battlegrounds, and then I pick up a game here and there. The last game I picked up is called Monster Train, which is quite fun. I haven't had too much opportunity to play it because, as I mentioned, my dad's here, but also my mother. So the package is
I
here.
feel like your whole family is there from what I've seen from pictures and things.
For a moment,
Some extended family.
A lot of them were here, yeah. But my mom has 2 brothers here as well, so there's opportunity to, see each other frequently, even though circumstances of the world.
All right,
So,
I wanna bitch for a second here.
uh,
I'm gonna complain loudly.
I don't like that it comes right after my.
What else is new?
I was conned by an ad, and I'm so mad.
Was it a worm on a string?
No, I never, ever,
True story.
ever download ad games. Like if there's an ad for a game
Okay.
on another game I'm playing, I never download them because they annoy the crap out of me. I hate them.
Sure. Sometimes they're not even real.
Yeah. Well, Chris, let's have a chat.
Go on.
So I was playing one of my many mobile games that I'm in love with at the moment, and I think I was playing Archero, which is a really fun game, but it's got a lot of ads in it, which you kind of have to deal with these days because I'm a free to play broke dude.
No.
And this puzzle like adventure game ad popped up, and it's popped up 100 times before I've seen it. And I love those ads that are interactive where you can actually like do something in them. So it's
Start to
mildly
play the
entertaining.
game a little bit. Yeah.
And, I kept saying, no, I don't want it, no. Well, finally, I was like, you know what? I've had fun with this little ad. I've done it a lot. Let's see where the game goes. Game fucking sucked!
You were conned. What was the game? You gotta tell us.
So the game was called Hero Wars.
Yeah, that doesn't sound real.
This sounds familiar.
And as far as I can tell, you don't do anything in the game.
So it's not a game. It's passive.
It is one of those passive, like, collect a hero, then they do adventures and attack thing games.
Oh,
I don't know what happened to the puzzling. It
all
was
the
a puzzle
puzzling
game.
was just to draw you in. Hilarious.
Like, there was things where you're like, well, you gotta get him from here to here, and you move these things, and then he doesn't die in this trap, but you try and save him in this trap, and you kill the boss evil thing with that trap, and it was a puzzle game. It was kind of neat. I don't know what happened to it. It just disappeared, because all of a sudden, here's your hero, and he's auto-attacking.
I gotta ask, I'm surprised that you downloaded this game based on the puzzle portion, because from what we've talked about in the past, you don't like puzzle games.
For the most part, I don't like puzzle games. I don't like open world puzzle games where you need to go and figure out what you need to solve to
Like
get on to the
Myst.
next part. I enjoy puzzles. Like, I love Rubik's Cubes. I love little things in front of me that I know I have a start and a finish to get to. Like, I love those kind of things.
Do you like Sudoku?
I do. I love Sudoku.
Cool.
I'm a huge
Have
fan.
you heard of Philomeno?
I have not.
That's another Japanese puzzle you could look into. It's a numbers puzzler as well. It's quite interesting. It's all about like figuring out spaces with numbers. Like you do adjacent tiles based on like the numbers and the space around that is around. Like so you have a checkered board and then you have a bunch of numbers on it. And so if there's a 2, there has to be 2 tiles. So then if there's a 3 around there, there has to be 3 tiles that take up the space.
How do you spell this?
Phillomina. Or sorry, N-O.
Philomeno.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting. Boy, like, now we've totally converted too, because I was going to chime in when we were talking about Sudoku. At some point in the last handful of years, I got really into doing crossword puzzles. And I'm like, now we really are
God, you're
old
like
people Mike's Hard Gamecast.
Like an 85-year-old retired woman. Like,
You're playing Sudoku. It's like
I know,
the same
I'm
thing.
a 95-year-old retired dude.
Yeah,
Like,
we're just sitting there with our little newspapers, like handwriting. I mean, to be fair, there is a cool New York Times crossword puzzle app, which I do use.
Nice.
I've never done crossword puzzles, and I wish I had picked up that habit because I enjoy discovering new words and vocabulary and expanding that, but I don't.
You can always get
enjoy
into
making
them.
an effort into doing that.
It's never too late to start. Luke.
It was literally only a couple years ago. I was on a gig on a cruise ship, so my service was rather spotty. So I was able to download some crossword puzzles like during one of the, brief times where I had internet. And I was just like, I think some of it, to me fair, was like learning the game of it. Because some of it is like knowledge and, like that. But it is still a puzzle and there is still some elements of like guessing well, basically.
Right.
And so, yeah, it definitely, became an appealing form of entertainment for me, like quick, online or whatever, not online, on phone diversion.
Man, speaking of on-phone diversion, I have recently picked up Call of Duty Mobile.
And this one was not a fake ad.
This was not. It wasn't an ad. I just went and searched for it and downloaded it. Not an ad.
How much does it assist you in the aim department?
It's so easy. It's amazing.
Like, is it still fun though? Do you enjoy it?
Oh, it's so much fun. I've gotten 3 nukes. It's great.
I don't know what that means.
Out of context, yeah, we're just lost. Good
Basically,
for you.
I think it's you earn a nuke. I think it's after 25 kills without being killed.
Oh.
and it's just pure like PvP, you know,
Yeah,
playing.
it's full PvP. There's a battle royale mode, which is pretty fun. They've got a lot. They've got maps from multiple different Call of Duties that are in there. Some of my favorite
fun.
maps, like Terminal, is in there. I think Rust is in there. Some really great map callbacks, which is awesome. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. It's not a hard game to play by any means.
But I mean, so that
it
goes
is entertaining for a mobile game.
So that reminds me of something I've been playing recently. I've been playing New Super Mario Brothers U on my Switch, which is, you know, one of those 3D, 2D Super Mario Brothers games. And it's both been super fun. It's just something I can jump on and play a couple levels, jump out of. But also, those old school platformers can be fucking brutal. And, you know, especially Mario.
Especially when you're not a gamer and you suck at games.
See, I knew we were going to bring that up, but, you know, someone's playing Call of Duty Mobile and Sudoku over here. And
nothing wrong with mobile games. Nothing wrong with mobile games.
Anyway, again, a game like that, an old school game, is definitely a lot more punishing. And so I obviously find myself getting really frustrated, you know, harkening back to being a kid and like wanting to like smash or break your controller. And one of the things that game implemented, I remember reading about this at the time, Brock shrugging like he doesn't know what we're talking about. We all know who's the main controller smasher. Or at least was.
Yeah, he's zen now. He's complete. Right?
Zen.
I've broken a few controllers in my time.
He does kind of look like a cult leader with the long hair and beard. So,
Ooh.
Oh boy,
Lead
I'm a
us.
little bit concerned actually. He's letting it down. Anyway,
oh gosh, okay.
in this game,
now you look like a big fuzzy bear or a lion.
it's going all around his headphones.
You need
Here's
to
a
be
great visual gag that no one on the podcast can appreciate.
Wait. Can you
Anyway.
make like a very vicious sort of phase towards the camera so that we can screenshot you real quick? You got it, Chris?
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, there it is. There it is.
Oh
All
gosh,
right.
this is great content for the listeners.
I only got exactly. What are you gonna do? Alrighty. So, and getting back into it. So one of the features that this game has is after you die a certain amount of times, it'll offer you like a little hint block that'll pop up. And it'll be like, oh, would you like to see like a little robot run through the level for you? And so one of the times I was like, sure, let's see what it's doing. So you hit the block and it starts a little animation, or it's like showing a run of the game. Except for what I didn't realize is that not only is it like a hint, it actually allows you to cheat, because you can at any time pull out of that little, hint run and be wherever it was. It'll
What?
basically
Stupid.
Oh,
and
that ruins the feature.
see-
I was like, that's a
see-
neat thing.
See, I'm so conflicted. That time I got mad, because just like you guys, I'm old school and old, and was annoyed by, like the way in which the game is sort of like, hand-holding you. On the other hand, a lot of what I see in this game in general, I mean, you can play multiplayer, you can be like 4 people playing all at once. The game is clearly designed to be fun entertainment for everybody. And so maybe a game that you could play with like your young kids, or again, if you're like endlessly frustrated and you can't progress past a certain level, it allows you to do that. So I have not taken advantage of that feature. I just die repeatedly and angrily. And to your point, builds character and presumably skill. But
Yeah.
I don't know, I can kind of see it as a thing that makes sense. It's an optional feature. You don't need to do it.
I love the ability of the assist, like showing you maybe where you're missing and getting stuck, but getting you just past it without having to do anything.
It's still a choice you can make, though, right? You don't need to do that. It's just an option. But again, it did surprise me also. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna watch what's happening. I'm confused, and then all of a sudden, it sort of indicated.
Warp
It almost leads
across.
you in and tricks you, like your like your mobile game ad.
This
And I was
reminds
like-
me of I noticed something interesting that I didn't think was a thing for a long time, and that is that you really do sharpen your skills in gaming, and it's definitely a thing that you can work
100%.
on. Because I noticed, like, after having played Terra for quite a long time and all the clearing, like, a lot of the hard content, whenever I'd come back to it after a long break, I'd have to readjust and relearn and like, sort of, like, fine-tune my reaction time and my instinct. And, like, the fights it felt, like, much more difficult than how I had been handling a lot of the harder fights. So I found that pretty interesting. Right now I'm playing, like, unskilled games entirely, other than like it's like thinking.
We went through
thing.
that in World of Warcraft a lot when we started doing the heroic runs and the harder end raids, where literally the success of it could come down to one person like hitting the counterspell at the right time or not messing up their rotation. Like you would win or lose by anybody like succeeding or failing even just a little bit on some of that hard content.
Yeah. It's funny,
it was cool because it did build that reaction time, that want to get better at what you're doing.
A sense of achievement after you kick butt. And especially collectively in a situation like that. We've talked about this before just in general about how one of the reasons I don't like multiplayer games is because I don't that pressure to hold up my end of the deal or whatever, and that kind of goes back to also discussing Lou was just, sort of describing himself as a filthy casual. And I gotta say, over time, that's definitely been the case for me, where it used to be I wanted a challenge in my games. But now that I'm a little bit older and, we have sort of less free time, sometimes I just want to enjoy the game. It's supposed to be recreational. And sometimes I notice with Mario, I'll stop playing after a second because I'm just like, I'm not even really having fun right now. I'm just getting mad. I'm gonna, go do something else.
That's how I felt about the new Zelda game.
We gave you an opportunity to not talk about it, but Mike had to out that he did not like Breath of the Wild.
I did, and I guess from what I've been told, I just haven't gotten far enough in it to get upgrades and grow my character in a way that I will enjoy it. I just feel like A, I don't really do anything, and B, there's nowhere to fucking go.
I mean, dude, you've been playing Minecraft, which is basically that except without story. So it's like you're
that is fair. I mean, to be fair, to give Mike the benefit of the doubt for people who don't know him, he has never been a Zelda fan. So I don't think some of that level of, nostalgia or enjoyment of it being a Zelda game is lost on him versus someone like myself who's been a long time Zelda fan. I have Zelda tattoos. So it's that I would give him the benefit of the doubt in saying that some of my enjoyment of the game definitely comes from it just being a Zelda game.
That's fair. I mean, I don't
give it a try. Give it another chance. We'll get you back into it.
I'll push into it. We'll see. I got to do something with my Switch.
As far as content,
New Super Mario Brothers.
As far as content and difficulty goes for me, it's more about the game I'm actually choosing to play. Because let's say I whenever I pick up Shadowlands for World of Warcraft, I'm gonna want to do at least Mythic Plus content. I don't know about rating because it doesn't really fit in my lifestyle at the moment. But
what is Mythic?
So now there's 4 tiers of rating, right? You have the Raid Finder, you have Normal, Heroic, and then Mythic, which is the ultimate difficulty for the hardcore gamers. So each one has its own eye level rewards as far as the gear. Obviously the highest being Mythic, and then for dungeons, what they did is they kind of repurposed it. So once you hit max level, you can keep visiting dungeons since it scales with you, and then you can activate Mythic level dungeons. And then each time you beat it, you get a key or something like that then you can up the level of it. So you can have a Mythic plus 20. And then every time it sort of gives you debuffs, right? So it's the mobs hit harder, or you can heal for less, and every level sort of in a random pool of things increases the difficulty level. And then I don't know how it works with rewards in terms of that, but definitely the challenge is there in that sense. And it's cool because it's it's still a 5-man party, which is very appealing to me.
You're 100% sticking with your shaman?
I've been mostly invested in researching what the shaman looks like. In fact, I think one of my first goals is going to be to try to unlock the allied races, specifically the Zandalari, because I want to do a Zandalari troll shaman. Is kind of what I'm leaning towards.
So yeah, let's clarify for the people who don't know. World of Warcraft has been a big thing in our general friendship. Me on the outside of it ever since the beginning, but Brock and Lou pretty heavily invested on and off throughout the years. And Brock is currently playing WoW again, to my knowledge, with his lady friend and I believe also their daughter. And Lou, you were just telling me that, aside from what you were just talking about now, that you're probably diving back in with the new expansion.
Yeah, I'm probably going to pick up Shadowlands. I'm not going to do the pre-patch content. I'm just going to pick it up and start kind of fresh, I think. since a lot of quality of life changes have been happening where a lot of stuff is account bound, including like achievements and mounts and stuff. So I'm not going to be losing out this time around by restarting a new character as opposed to in the past when I restarted a new shaman and everyone's like, "Are you stupid?"
Well, what I also, because I started a new warrior, which I was one of the people that called you stupid for doing it, because when you did it, it was fucking stupid.
I don't know what this means.
But now around, like, I also restarted a warrior so I could level fresh with my family. And it's kind of cool how much of that stuff transferred over. So not only do I have access to my mounts and pets and toys and stuff like that, but the gear that I've unlocked with my other warrior has also been available to me as far as transmogging and making my gear look like that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the visuals that I really loved about my warrior, like the cool epic, awesome sets, the legendary weapons that I had, all those skins are available to me for my new warrior. So it's not even like I really missed anything out.
What race is your warrior, your new warrior?
My new warrior is an orc. Orc smash!
I assure you're going to want to switch over to the Magar orcs once you see how awesome they look.
I was just actually looking that stuff up because I forgot that, like, I haven't played any of the current content, and I know, like, you can unlock some races now by grinding rep and stuff, but I haven't really looked at any of that stuff, and you mentioned that about the Zandalaria, and I was like, well, let me go look that up. There's actually some really cool stuff.
Yeah, the Magar look amazing visually. Like, it's the Zandalaria and the Magar, which are, like, the coolest lookings, in my opinion. And then you have the Volpera, which are, like, the little... It's basically a reskin goblin,
I want to play one so bad.
It's like the cute little...
the little furry foxes.
I love tiny little things with giant swords and axes and armor. I think it is the coolest thing on the planet. I love when you're wielding a weapon that's way too big for you.
Yeah. It's a fun idea. That kind of surprises me in that sense then that I'm not sure I've ever seen you play like, you know, like a halfling barbarian in Dungeons and Dragons or something like that. Because those ideas are fun, like a small character being like a tank, basically.
Yeah. I mean, normally I am usually, well, I'm a min-maxer, Chris.
Yeah,
and,
a gamer, if you will.
So I tend to maximize.
I get it.
I can't.
Well, now, I don't know if you actually heard about this, and this is not something I'm completely prepared for, but I know that D&D is releasing a new source book, and some of what that's going to do is get rid of some of those sort of inherent racial traits and allow you to build characters based more on your choice. Because to a certain extent, the racial traits, aside from being potentially casually racist, are a thing that forces your hand in terms of choices, as opposed to kind of what you're saying, like, oh, you know what? I want to be a small, like, really strong character. And in fact, actually, one of my characters is a female human barbarian, and it's always fun because I made her like normal human size. She's my height, 5'8", and in that sense, I'm the second smallest character in the party. Everyone else is like orcs or whatever else, and they're all massive and huge, but I'm the strongest character by, you know, numbers at least. So it's created some fun images in that campaign where this like tiny woman is like lifting up this like 8-foot tall orc and like, you know, throwing her onto a roof or whatever.
That's funny to say that because K-How and I, typically when we play together, she's always the tiny little thing and I'm the big thing, and it's always our battle move to toss her into combat and throw her around, or like I'll carry her on my back and just like, okay, let's do this. Like
that's fun.
Can I, Chris, when you're RPing that female characters, do you do a female sounding voice or are you just normal?
No,
he doesn't do a female sounding voice when he's RPing for our DM game. Like
that's a good point.
That's
I mean,
true.
the point of that is, yeah, I'm not a voice actor, right? So
I will say,
you can try.
I live in the
Give
South.
us a taste.
Lou, you live in the South. K-How agreed as well. Chris is like Southern woman, like Southern old woman.
See, Lou missed out on that character. I did realize while doing it, when I was coming up with the voice, it wasn't initially supposed to sound like that, but it sort of fell into that when I was playing around. And I was just like, well, this is an accent I know I can do for an extended period of time. Because again, the realization, for people who don't know, I've been DMing a game with my long-distance, long-term friends here, Brock and Lou, as well as some of our other friends. And yeah, you know, as a person who admires Critical Role and Mercer and all those things, I usually try to put on more of an affect or like a general persona. Because, yeah, realizing, oh man, it's hard enough to do a singular voice, as Brock can attest, you know, with his character having like an accent. let alone many of them. And so
I picked the one accent. I can't fucking do it.
see, that's the thing. Like, I noticed when on certain characters when I would try one, like with Dorvarok, I was like, oh, I could say some words in this accent, and other ones it would just go away. Like, it's definitely a skill set that I appreciate more and more. But no, to answer Luke's original question, when I play that character, I take on a certain persona. And she's super laid back and kind of like chill anyway, so yeah, it's not like she's got a high-pitched girly voice or whatever.
Do you want to give us a taste?
That character doesn't really have an accent. She's like a sleepy, barbarian lady. It's a fun duality, honestly. That's a really fun character to play.
Full on had an accent.
No, definitely did not have an accent.
100%.
You're trying to force it, but it's not. I'm not lying.
We're gonna take a vote on the D&D game today
okay.
that we're playing later, and there was 100% an accent there.
Actually, to be fair, the real only time I've done accents or these kind of bigger affects like I've done is in this game as the DM to try that out. On that note, when you DM Brock, do you do accents or voices?
Oh yeah, and I was talking about the Southern woman, not your character.
Oh, the Southern woman. Oh yeah, Lady V for sure. A strong Southern accent. That one.
She sounds like a madam.
It blew my mind. It was really good. Like,
Salazar,
I would have
you
thought
missed
him in a cartoon as that voice. Like,
Salazar, you missed out so much.
I kind of like it whenever Chris is taking on the persona of a conceited, arrogant elf. Because it's not too far from his norm.
Oh.
Yes. Like he'll also be really calm in tone and just kind of like take his time reacting to things. Like he'll take it in and like, you're a dumbass. Thank you for that. But shush. Let me talk now.
Well, especially because in our game, so many of you guys, I mean, if anyone has gotten this far in the podcast, you've heard Brock, you've heard Lou. A lot of the characters are like these people where they talk a lot. And so there are a lot of times where we have 6 players. I'm the DM playing one character and all 6 characters are just rambling at me about whatever. And it's just like, oh boy.
And they're not the most stable
suffice to say, the party
characters
overwhelms
as well.
a lot of NPCs. On the other hand, I try to flip it back around lately and have been, I think, overwhelming you guys with some of the NPCs.
Well, I want to wheel us back a little bit out of the D&D world for a second, get back on the World of Warcraft.
Sure.
So Lou, you haven't picked it up yet, but you're picking it up for Shadowlands. I have picked it up. I am re-leveling. So there's a level squish coming. So max level will now be level 60, right, in Shadowlands?
Like vanilla was, yep.
Like vanilla was.
From 120, is that where it was? Or is now?
It's currently at 120, yeah. Max level.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am curious, and this leads us into the next and very first segment of our podcast today. Hey, Chris, why aren't you playing World of Warcraft with us yet?
Why am I not playing World of Warcraft? The reason I will use is, like I said, I don't like playing multiplayer games in which my teammates rely on me.
Is it because you're unreliable?
No, I think I am very reliable.
So it's the pressure.
Too much pressure?
Yeah.
Do I need to
You can't
elaborate? This is
perform
a
under
simple
pressure?
answer. I thought this was
We
Some
don't get to
anxi-
question you? Come on.
performance anxiety. Didn't we talk about this?
Ooh,
I
we
mean,
suffer from
Lou,
that,
you were
yeah.
mentioning that, yeah, like the multiplayer anxiety you can have when playing games like, Overwatch or any sort of team-based combative kind of game.
Well, it's funny because I don't mind disappointing strangers. I mind more disappointing,
It's fair.
right? Or actually, the opposite. I don't mind disappointing my friends.
Yeah, I was
and
like, what about? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
yeah, yeah.
sure
I don't mind
if we're gonna talk about WoW.
Yeah, and then
I was about to pull up some memories here.
I don't mind disappointing strangers. Yeah, and then friends. And then I care more
Lou-
about like.
No,
the
you still can't get it right.
encounters.
Lou has a habit of being okay with letting us down, but random people he's never met before, he is very upset by.
I just, do unto others, right? If you guys did something messed up, I'd forgive you. So, because I love you guys.
This is why I see what you're saying. But this is why I don't want to be known. How many years? 16 years later, as the guy who goes and makes curry instead of raiding with his friends, like certain other people in the group.
I don't know.
Chris, I want
what
you
you're
to
talking
know, were you to play World of Warcraft with us, I would have no expectations, and I would expect you to fail at it.
Yes.
And that's okay, because
is
you've
fair.
never played before.
It would be a nice, pickup learning curve, which, as we've discussed, maybe one day.
right.
Never say never.
All right.
Gentlemen, I need to complain about my lack of nerdiness for a moment.
I usually do that also, complain about your lack of nerdiness.
I consider myself a giant nerd. Not only am I a nerd, I am also giant.
True.
Both things literal. I like it.
I got out nerded by my fiance the other day.
Well, she's pretty nerdy, to be fair.
She is very nerdy.
Okay.
But we, I'm she's the popular, good-looking one.
That's
so
true.
She's not the
That's
full
true.
nerd. I'm
Yeah,
the ugly,
Lady in the Beast
I'm
case,
in the
for sure.
basement playing video games. That's me.
Yeah, that's fair. That's super fair.
So
you're
we're
batting
out-
above your above your pay
oh
grade.
yeah. I'm definitely 3 steps above. It worked out great for me.
Okay, yeah.
we were on a date out in Asheville the other day, and for you guys that don't know Asheville's kind of like the Austin of North Carolina, where it's a very hippie hipster cool place, a lot of live music, big murals on buildings, it's very artsy fartsy, it's a cool place. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I've heard.
If I was rich, we would probably live there. Not rich, can't live there.
Maybe one day.
But we were out in Nashville,
Nah.
and we were at this bar that Kehao had been to ages ago, and she had been trying to get me there, and it was this Caribbean food and bar place. It was awesome. It's vegan friendly,
cool.
super tasty, very spicy, lots of great food. And we're sitting there, and we're just having this conversation, talking, and all of a sudden, this server is behind the bar. Not even our server. Never met her. And Keihao's just talking to me, stops talking to me, looks at her, and just out of nowhere says, "Man, I'm really bummed DragonCon didn't happen this year." And this lady's like, "I know, it's the first time in 6 years I haven't gone."
Okay.
And I'm looking at her like, what the fuck just happened here? What
Just
is
having a
going on?
telepathic conversation.
And they're having this conversation, and Kehao is not the let me engage this stranger and have a conversation person at all. That's just not who she is. And they're just talking about DragonCon they've known each other for years. And finally, the server walks away, and she just looks at me and starts having the conversation, and I'm staring at her going, What just happened here? Well, as it turns out, the lady had a face mask on. That was this weird kind of ugly pattern that I didn't recognize. Turns out it's the carpet from DragonCon.
Oh yeah,
from 8 years ago or whatever that they ripped up and got rid of, and it's this huge people stole it out of the dumpsters, and
I 100% would have gotten that reference.
Yeah, I bet you would have, because you get references to things that you've never been to all the time.
That's true, but also I've been a big fan of DragonCon for a while, and famously, and Lume, you may have seen this back in the day because I think it was going around some of our geek blog stuff. Famously, these guys found the same carpet as was in these hotels and made full-on army man fatigues out of them, so they were able to lie on the ground and be completely camouflaged in the carpet.
And it's become this huge cult thing where people like the DragonCon elite that have been going for years are all aware of and have made full costumes out of, and apparently somebody took the pattern and it's printed face masks for that.
That's amazing.
So it's
that's a great nerd
thing.
thing. I definitely
I got out nerded so hard, and I was impressed and also upset at the same time. I was like, just happened here. This never happens.
I mean, to be fair, it seems like Keihao's pretty into cons, and I know you've gone to a few, but maybe she beats you at least in that department in terms of nerdiness.
She has done the DragonCon, and we are planning to make a return for her and my first ever DragonCon next year. So anybody listening, come check us out. At least Keihao and I will be in DragonCon next year.
I mean, we've talked about it.
Keihao and I are getting married next year, but instead of doing the whole honeymoon afterwards, we're going to do a pre-honeymoon, and we're going to go to DragonCon for our honeymoon.
Nice. Knock on wood, it's all that stuff is still, or happens again next year, because at least DragonCon's far enough into the year, in the fall, sort of early winter. And so, yeah, I mean, we talked about it
Well,
I know
think
Lou and
our-
I have talked about it. I've talked about it with some of our other friends, like in our D&D group, my nerdy friends, and
was gonna
we
say,
were
our
kind of planning
D&D
on going
group-
this year anyway, before obviously everything
Our
happened.
D&D group has made a date to go together as a group for 2022, right?
Yes.
I mean, assuming that that's
Tentative.
when it happens, I think probably whenever it happens again, at least some of us will go the next time it happens, depending on,
There is
the vibe of the world.
There's a hotel booked for 2021, so that's the plan in the hope.
Pre-plan. I am so excited for cons again. I definitely miss so much about that.
Yeah,
They are
I'm curious.
so much fun.
So I know me and K-How are huge cosplayers. The two of you not tremendously so.
Chris
Are
is
you guys
more.
for Dragon?
Yeah,
Con?
what
Are you doing cosplay?
a proof of Brock not knowing anything about me, where for a long time in and after college, which to be fair, there was a chunk of time there where Brock and I didn't hang or see each other as often, so that's reasonable. But yeah,
I
where
know you guys did the con circuit, but from what the pictures I saw,
I've
I never
had-
saw you in cosplay.
Well,
So-
so I guess that's fair. Like there was a couple times that I've cosplayed back in the day quite a lot in terms of either things that I'd buy or things that I'd make. And then eventually we sort of transitioned into a thing where my friends and I were just constructing things. And very famously, and you can find shit about this online, we built first a 2/3 scale and then eventually a full scale Onyx from Pokemon that we carried around like a Chinese dragon. You can find us on Kotaku and other such places. Look up, Onyx cosplay or SakuraCon Onyx. And you will definitely find pictures of a massive 23-foot long or whatever it was constructed monstrosity.
I saw that in person. I don't know which version of it was, but I remember.
I think it was the first version, the one that was
Yeah.
like way shittier. There's one that's like wrapped in tinfoil.
Yeah,
that
that's
was.
the one
I
I
mean,
saw.
to be fair, both were made very quickly. The tinfoil one was like in a day or two, and then the other one was made within a week because I made it like I flew back to Washington early and spent like a week just in my friend's townhouse with a couple of other friends who'd come in and out because they were still working, and we built this whole massive Onyx literally in less than a week, like handful of days. So, but yeah, to be fair, I have gotten away from cosplay a little bit, but I am also constantly surrounded by high
Yeah,
or
look at you and
professional
your
level
mohawk.
cosplayers. Yeah, that's when I had the mohawk.
Look at you.
And so that's another thing I miss is I was literally right when everything kind of shut down. I was supposed to go as a cosplay handler to a convention up in Canada because that's a weird profession I've sort of found myself in, which has been an awesome side effect of once being a cosplayer, getting to go to conventions with my high level cosplay nerd friends.
Well,
I've
I see
never-
so here's okay, Chris. Well, I'm gonna debate a second for you.
Go ahead.
I see the full scale Onyx.
Yes.
Okay. What I also see is everybody else that's with the full scale Onyx is in also a cosplay, and you're in a black hoodie.
I'm trying to remember who was there. I'd have to look at it. Some of them were intended to be like their cosplay was
trainers, right?
accompanying the Onyx, or related to Pokemon. And then again, this whole plan was literally, especially when we did Onyx 2.0, was my friend Albert messaging me like, I don't know, maybe weeks even before the con actually happened, and being like, hey, would it be crazy to make another Onyx? And I was like, yes, we should do that. And that's what happens when you're an adult, is your crazy ideas often become reality because you have money and time sometimes, unless you're Brock and you have children, in which case you have neither.
You have neither of those things.
Hey, Lou,
But
what have
you
you been
are
doing
full
with
of
your
love.
disposable income lately?
Oh, throwing it into my side business, which, is awesome.
And a sponsor of this podcast, GetAthreads.com.
This podcast is brought to you by those things that protect your nether bits. Get threads.
GetAthreads.com. Protect your nether
Kinda
bits
like
with nerdy clothing.
Yeah.
Nether
It's
bits.
cosplay. It's cosplay lingerie for your nether bits.
It is like a cosplay adjacent thing. That is true.
Yeah,
And if you like nerdy things and you're a lady, check it out.
Or a dude. Who says a dude can't rock?
That is fair. You can definitely rock them as a
yeah.
dude. They're
We-
designed
I
for
did-
women.
Is there
female
rank space?
female bodies.
I
But
definitely
you can,
had a couple of dudes buy them at a convention where I was present
Nice.
selling them. Yeah, so
I want to get back to the cosplay real quick.
Sure.
So
All
Kano
day.
and I thought that it would be cool when our whole D&D group goes if we all cosplayed our D&D characters.
Danielle
Oh my
has mentioned
God.
that also.
Lou would be the stick in the mud who would not do such a thing.
Well, it's not that I'm averse to doing it, but you've posed quite a challenge with my character. I designed it in a very... I mean, it's not quite as simple to cosplay my character. It's not like I'm gonna, pop on some.
Yours and Danielle's would by far be the hardest ones. Danielle would literally have to make a fursuit, which is...
I mean, Keihao would have to go all blue and lose her ears and every bit of
Yeah,
hair
I'd have to
on
do a
her
bald
body.
cap or something like
Yeah.
that. Like, there are some high... Yours would be so easy. You're just
Yeah,
fat
mine would be
Mandrake. I mean...
I've never cosplayed, but I mean, it's not like I wouldn't do it. I just never have gotten around to it, and I don't know if I'd want to spend the time actually making it, and I'd want to do it well if I did do it. I think.
It's a good way
which
to
kind of
spend some
stops me.
disposable income.
Also, to be fair, you have a couple
Well-
pretty nerdy cosplay friends like Keihao or like Danielle who could help get that going. So I don't know. I like that idea. It'd be fun. I don't know what I would do. Am I just the dungeon master at this moment?
You could literally be any of the characters.
Just cosplay
that you
a book.
want. Or you could be
Ooh.
like,
Ooh.
I have the arm of Dorvrock, but I have the head of
That would be fun. There are some characters that I enjoy, and it would be a fun way of doing it.
Or you could just cosplay Matt Mercer.
All I wanted,
I'll just wear one of those tunic vests,
Yeah.
which I feel like is a look that only he can pull off. I gotta say. Sorry,
looks
go ahead,
like
Lou.
he's
You were
just been
saying.
pulled
All I
out of
wanted to
Burning Man every time
do
you see him.
was cosplay some Japanese drunken salaryman.
Oh yeah,
'Cause
that's
like
right.
a
Lou had that
simple-
idea back in the day.
Just wear
when
a
we would
black
go to
suit,
Sakuracon.
tie, but the tie all disheveled.
Ties on your, or it's on your head.
Walking around with like a like a bottle or something like that, just like acting all stupid. That's a nice, simple,
good way.
recognizable cosplay.
This is a good way to not get laid.
I mean, that's
I
it
don't
hasn't
know.
happened anyway, so I don't think I'm losing out. You know? So like anytime I go to a con, the expectation of that happening is just zero at this point, so it's okay.
Lou, there is a great
Wow.
woman out there for you somewhere, and you're at some point probably going to build her. It'll be great.
Oh, wow. I thought you were going to make like another swerve, like, there's a great woman out there for you somewhere, and you've definitely missed her somewhere along the way.
Oh, that's almost worse.
I mean, that's what I think about all the time, I gotta be honest. You're like, oh boy, like, yeah, my someone's out there, but I'm definitely in here, and she's out there somewhere.
Oh my god, that's amazing. But yeah, I'm excited for some Dragon Con action. I've never been. It'll be my first time.
Oh yeah, we're gonna con it up. I'm fucking so excited. That's,
Yeah.
aside from, concerts coming back, which are relevant to my interest and job, the eventual, knock on wood, return of, nerdy conventions. I'm all about it, for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing for Halloween this year as far as costuming, because I'm not going to miss a Halloween.
Still gonna
For
dress up,
costuming.
even if it's just like at home or whatever.
Yeah, I've been kicking around Fat Thor as an idea.
Oh yeah, we talked about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you should be like, because I was saying you should be the Big Lebowski, and you mentioned
Yeah.
Fat Thor. Yeah, you might as well. That'd be awesome. It's just like basically you're the Big Lebowski, but then maybe get a hammer, a Mjolnir.
Yeah,
Pump it
well,
up.
not a Mjolnir. It would be the axe. Which
Oh
I
yeah,
can't
that's right.
remember.
He has the Stormbreaker. No, that might be a D&D thing. Nerd cred down. Nerd
Yeah,
cred.
no
down.
Oh,
kidding.
no.
Oh, God.
Fat Thor is a great choice, honestly.
I know. It's very, and like if I am on this weight loss road,
Oh yeah.
so I'm not going to be able to do Fat Thor forever. So I might as well do it while I can and do it really well.
That's fair. I was gonna ask you on that note, are you in the kind of neighborhood where you're gonna get trick-or-treaters?
Theoretically, we should, but I have now read 3 articles
Hmm.
this year saying that trick or treating might not be recommended or
Yeah,
might
that's
also
fair.
be banned completely.
I could see that. Like kind of a Christmas is
When
canceled
has that
situation.
stopped, dumbass Americans?
That
You're
is
still gonna
fair.
get them. It's fine. Just prepare for the candy with the candy.
For Chris,
Yes, sir.
it is Stormbreaker.
Hey!
Oh.
My nerd cred's back. I'll take it.
Nice.
I'm virtually
I can't
high-fiving
believe I,
Khal.
forgot it.
Here's your badge back. There you go. Take it back.
Thank you. I'm officially welcome back into the club.
Suspension over.
Yeah,
You're
I
good.
literally have to give up my nerd cred badge to Khal now. I feel I have been out nerded.
So speaking of nerd cred and all of that kind of stuff, there's been a lot of new tech being released, including, obviously, the new PS5 and the new Xbox. And I want to know...
Oh, so you mean the good console and the shitty PS5?
we all know at least the three of us here know that Brock is a Xbox Microsoft diehard. But if anything, we will see. We will see. What was that, gang sign?
What's the new Xbox console called? I don't even know that.
There's two versions of it, aren't there?
Yeah.
Same with the PlayStation. The PS5 has got like
true,
a hard
yeah.
drive only, and they both have they both have internal storage only and disk drive options, if I recall.
So the disc drive would cost $100 extra for both.
At least for the PS5.
Well, here's a question for you guys. Do you guys buy games on disc anymore?
So as a console player, I know Lou tends to be a little bit more of a, PC gamer, but even still, I have some, if I can get them on sale, because sometimes they tend to be cheaper or they'll come up on sale in physical stores. But no, I'm completely okay with downloading my games.
Digital stores,
yeah, especially now, to what extent are we, going to physical locations?
I am so Kehao and I get in this argument all the time.
Oh, yeah?
I am so ready to get away from physical media.
Yeah, I get that.
Shit to haul around. They get scratched. They get damaged. If you lose them, you don't have access to them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So excited about it.
It's nice to have that, library of games, kind of like what Steam sort of pioneered. A good example, actually our friends David and Danielle, for my recent birthday, bought me a PS Plus subscription so we could play online together. And I know, right? Crazy.
And me.
I thought you were an Xbox gamer. All right, we'll talk about this off mic. But
we can make a whole podcast about the inconsistencies of Brock's existence. It's okay.
Oh yeah, that would be very easily done.
I'm opinionated, and those opinions change.
Let's go back to
my current mode.
So back in the day, you did. You ordered the the Xbox One Day One edition or something like that, because
I pre-ordered the Xbox One Day One edition that you got an achievement and all that stuff for.
But as far as I know, none of us have done any pre-orders on any of the new consoles, or for the PC gamers on for example, the new Nvidia cards that just came out.
Oh god, people are pissed about those cards.
Yeah, I think there's a lot. People seem kind of pissed about all the pre-orders because they seem to have been handled weirdly.
The new Nvidia cards are great. Because I am looking towards doing a computer build, and the fact that they are half the price of what their predecessor was, fuck yeah. But then I also didn't just buy a $1,500 card that instantly got replaced by a half the price card.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, that's just the danger of the game, though. Sometimes, right?
That's how it works. Sometimes shit happens. Production costs go down, material costs can go down. Whatever happened that allowed them to release that, good on them. As far as the console goes, I have not pre-ordered, but I will definitely be doing the monthly subscription to the Xbox One, or the new Xbox, whatever it's called, where you get the Xbox, you get the Xbox Live, you get the Xbox Cloud games, all that service. I think it's $34, $35 a month.
Yep.
Wow.
It's a crazy deal.
Dude,
already the monthly service included in that is a mega deal.
Yeah, it's making it so much more accessible, over the PlayStation, which has not only is it more costly, both editions, right? I think one of them matches the higher cost of the Xbox One, and then the next one up is an extra $100 if you want a disc drive, and for it to be, I guess, a media console or whatever as well. But it doesn't. Well, for now at least, they haven't announced whether or not they're doing an accessible deal or bundle like Xbox, but Xbox is definitely looking like it's gonna win that out just based on how accessible it is.
Which is
unless
great.
you always have the diehards that will follow it, but I don't know.
They're following basically the way we do phones now. I mean, when was the last time people bought a full price phone out the gate? You do a monthly plan, you get the phone, you get your service included with that, and you pay for your $1,000 phone.
Yeah.
And people are just cool with it. So, of course, as the price on consoles goes up, these companies are going to be like, ooh, people might not want to buy a $500 or $600 console outright. Because of course they don't.
It's such a smart move.
They'll pay $34 a month to get access to it.
Lowering the barrier of entry, and especially because now we do have that subscription culture, right? Where we all have at least one, if not many, subscriptions to things. Yeah. Even myself, who tends to be a subscription averse. And so, yeah, it makes sense that you'd put out a console in that way. And I got to give props to Xbox in general, or Microsoft, for the way they handled, I feel everything about this release, where there was the leak, and then they kind of address the leak, and then they're just like, all right, we're going to put out the info. And then especially for getting in that really low price point, it's just like smart. Because as we all know, typically a new generation of consoles will come out and they'll be extremely pricey, which, will usually inhibit people like myself who aren't typically early adopters and especially don't want to pay some exorbitant price. But yeah, it seems like Microsoft and Xbox has made some smart moves.
Have you guys seen, like, I've been seeing some memes floating around online about how the difference between the consoles and the PC, they're sort of catching up, and so the superiority of the PC gamers is getting a little bit like, they're getting down there. Right?
This conversation comes up every time a new console is about to be released, because yes, the consoles release with the top of the line stuff that they can put in them at the time. Where the PC Master Race comes out is where the console has been out for a few years and you can't upgrade it. Yeah. People have stuck new video cards and new shit in their PCs and have upgraded over time. So, yes, the PC will always be the god of evolution and keeping up with the most powerful shit of time. What I like about a console is it works for the most part. You turn it on, it's going to work. I've had the same Xbox for like 3 years now.
Yeah.
And it's worked the entire time.
It doesn't start slowly, like my 10-year-old computer, start to kind of suffer as time goes on, necessarily.
Right? Yes, I will buy a new Xbox where it upgrades the whole thing at once and I'm not piecemealing it together.
There's something to be said.
I love PC gaming as well. There's great things about it. There's great things about consoles. I don't think you need to pick one over the other. I think they're both great at what they do and how they do it.
I feel like a lot more that is the case, right? Where as opposed to having a lot of distinct things, people have either multiple consoles or a console and a PC. And it's funny because it used to be that like I liked my console because it was a dedicated gaming machine, whereas my computer, let's say, I'll use for work or for editing or whatever other things I may need to do. But now the funny thing is like with consoles, a lot of them have become like entertainment centers, where
100%.
Maybe you're watching your Netflix or Spotify or whatever on your console. So that's kind of an interesting move where there has been a blurred line, I think, between consoles.
Which is really funny because during the Xbox One release, Microsoft had to completely rework what they were doing on initial launch. Because if you guys remember back then, and I think we even talked about this together, when Xbox One was originally releasing, they were planning on it as an entertainment center. So you would be able to stream. It was cloud gaming, cloud storage services for movies and games and TV shows. And that's what they're... And people were pissed.
People were so averse to that.
So they reworked it to a gaming machine again. And now people use their Xboxes and PlayStations for entertainment centers. We don't have anything on our TV except a PlayStation and an Xbox because that's what we use for watching Netflix.
I mean, the TVs themselves have...
now they do. If you get a nice smart TV.
Smart TVs, right?
But even then, I will still use sometimes my PlayStation apps over the inherent ones in the TV because a lot of times they are better designed or more streamlined. It really just depends on...
Yeah. It depends on the interface that the TV has. The TV I got has Roku. I enjoy the experience. I've seen some that it just varies how easily you can get the apps downloaded and access them and connect them and all that stuff. I had a question. Do you guys think that...
Is this your designated question or is this just
no,
a
it's
question?
not. I just have a question related to what we're talking about right now. Do you guys think that the discs for games are going to be like records as far as they'll just become like the vintage?
Well, some people...
Games?
No, I don't.
Some people do so for example, one of my really good friends, we just had this conversation the other day. He was telling me about how he ordered some game online because he likes the physical collection. He has his games on his shelf as a display. And so he actually made this comment where he's like, yeah, so I ordered this game online. It came and the case was broken. So I'm going to return it. And I was like, I'll just give you one of my cases. You could just change out the, the paper sleeve. I don't give a fuck about the case if it's broken. And I know he does. So I think that's dumb. But to lose sort of question, I think some people are about that, collecting, either the physical media or obviously in the past, we've talked about, and I haven't done this in a long time. And I'm honestly out of the loop if it's still a thing so much where, physical stores were trying to kind of focus on pre-order bonuses, whether that was DLC or, physical items or whatever, as a way to entice you to buy the physical game still versus just online. But I gotta say, having the services or like, being able to buy a PlayStation game and download it or uninstall it from my PlayStation, just at
It's
ease
just
is awesome.
convenient. Yeah, it's just super convenient and efficient. But I don't know. I do see a sense of like the value of having like a physical reminder of a collection as opposed to just like a digital library. It does like, I don't know. It feels nice. It's like with CDs. Like I remember back in the day, I had like I kept all of my CDs, the cases with the little booklet, which was dope. That each one had a little booklet. And it like that's still like very much a thing. For example, with K-pop, like they'll even do like limited edition releases and like different editions within.
House on fire?
My parents activated the alarm, I think. Yep.
Alright, quick pause.
I just saw my dad run by my office.
Alright, it's done. Okay, cool. We can just probably leave that in.
Great, that was great.
Lou's getting actively robbed right now.
Oh my gosh.
That would make for a real solid episode 1 of a podcast. Mike gets conned, Lou gets actually robbed. Special guest by the robber.
Now
so you're talking about booklets. No, honestly, I do.
Well,
I miss those booklets to a certain extent. Like, for example, the Switch games, those a lot of times I'll buy physically or have bought a lot of them physically, and you open them, and the funny thing is the case has like the little tabs to hold a booklet in it for like no reason, because they don't come with booklets or instructions.
I know.
But I think for us as older people, I have like a nostalgia for that to a certain extent. Yeah.
Well, no, because again, I didn't finish the K-pop thing. They
By all
have
means.
so the limited edition stuff. They'll have different booklets. Or like a booklet that's a photo book, which is like a collectible item. And then they'll also have random other, like, let's say like a Polaroid that has like, you can get either this version or that version. And then there's like, here's the whole group, or here's like a solo person within the band. So it's like, it almost creates sort of this trading card game element to it where you're like, oh, I really wanted this one. And if you buy it with like friends and stuff, maybe you could trade, and that's like I've seen videos of like unboxing K-pop albums, and I'm like, what? And they'd buy like 30 copies of the one.
That is definitely
album.
idol culture, though. To be
fair, which is crazy to me. But I don't know.
But to be fair,
wait.
Okay.
Does anybody remember when our editor bought? I think it was like.
Oh yeah, wasn't it like
Was it 1,000? It was
I don't know.
1,000 copies of an album.
to
remember
support?
this, Lou?
I remember this.
Well, it was supporting. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I don't remember the exact number, but it was like when we heard it, it's an exorbitant amount.
It was an exorbitant amount.
Yeah.
But I get
We need
it.
to follow up with our editor and find out what happened to all his copies of that.
He can insert his own comment here if he wants.
He was supposed to send us one, if I remember correctly.
But like to speak to that, like especially from my industry, similar, like the same industry with music, I've noticed that CDs have often become again, like a merch item. Whether or not you actually even have the ability to play a CD anymore, unless maybe in your car or something like that. But a lot of bands will sell a CD, $5 or whatever, and it's like a way to support the artist pretty inexpensively that I notice a lot of people really get into. I mean, aside from obviously fancier like LPs and albums, but the CD as an item more so as like the content that's on it.
So, Howe's big argument that me and her get into all the time, and it's a fair point she makes, is once you have the physical copy of it, that copy can no longer be changed or edited after the fact.
Oh, okay.
Whereas digital content, especially like books and stuff, can be now changed and edited going down the future because it's just a quick update that's pushed out to whatever you're listening.
Well, that's a whole bigger debate too of like, I think we are moving towards that altogether, right? With like streaming services and even like audiobooks or whatever, Kindles, things like that. Yeah, like to what extent is physical media a thing? And I gotta say, for a lot of books, I mean, that's another collectible thing. They do take up a lot of fucking room, but I have my little stack of D&D books right here. I mean, I use D&D Beyond too, but I like the physical book sometimes,
I do like holding and smelling a book, and it's for DMing. I love having a book because there's
so much easier to flip through
than like where the fuck is that? Where the fuck? Okay, okay. I remember it's kind of towards the back of the book. Ooh, okay,
Well, it's similar to the satisfaction of rolling physical die as well.
I do miss rolling
as opposed to
dice.
just
Click.
We play a digital game, and we click and roll dice because, well, everyone thinks everyone else is cheating when you don't.
It's
And,
nice to have a record in that way, and it's a little bit easier for me, so I can just look at the set of
Lou would
rolls as
cheat.
opposed to hearing you all have to call them out.
Lou would fully cheat.
I would no.
You're so convincing there. I do, man.
As I was creating my character, I remember Chris insisted that I share my screen with him so that he can see my roll for my HP, so I would not cheat. Yeah.
This just goes to show how well we know each other.
Amazing. That's great.
It's like, wait, I don't get another roll ever? No,
Well,
I don't like it.
while there's some negative attention on Lou, I think we should bring up our next segment of the week. Lou, are you ready?
I am ready.
Are you ready for the LOIQOTW?
Yes,
Lou's
I'm not going to
occasionally
repeat the
interesting
acronym.
question of the week.
Yeah. Woohoo! So this one requires a little bit of preamble.
That was our music.
There's no music to introducing my awesome segment.
It's gonna be different every week.
When I was younger, living in Nicaragua, I was over at a friend's house, okay? And I was taking a poop, okay?
Okay.
God damn it.
My friend...
You know it's where it's going.
Yeah, no, my friend was like hurrying me for some reason, right? Because like I think maybe the food was ready or something. Like that. Hey, it's time for lunch. Like, get out. And then I replied to him, "Yeah, give me a sec. I'm gonna put my clothes on." Right? And then, right? And so I got out, and then him and his brother start grilling me, like, "What do you mean, put your clothes back on?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" You know, I take off my pants and underwear fully so I can be comfortable, take a wide stance, and, you know, enjoy the throne, so to speak. To that point, up to that point, I'd never realized that wasn't the way you're supposed to do it, or that it was odd in any way, right? So I just thought, like, that's what you do because it's comfortable. It's like, oh, I'm just taking a squat. I'm gonna be comfy while I'm doing it. It's not the best experience in the world, so I'm just might as well make it comfortable because oftentimes I'll read something.
Not the best
whatever.
experience in the world. Is that Shitting's tagline?
Yeah.
Shitting, not the best experience in the world.
Yeah. So a couple of details, right? Like I take my time, right?
No,
It's a long poo, right? Oftentimes it's like at least
Is it
10
every
to
time?
15
Okay,
minutes.
every time. Okay.
Every
So
time,
there's a
yeah. That's
question
like
here somewhere.
as long as I'm not in like a public restroom or something like that, I'll take my time, right? If I'm comfortable.
In public restrooms, do you take your pants off all the way?
In what?
In a public restroom, do you take your pants off all the way?
No, see, that's what I'm saying. Like in a public, especially with the way that the U.S. public restrooms are designed, where you have the stalls like don't go all down all the way. Which, by the way, the rest of the world finds like ridiculous.
It is a pretty ridiculous thing, I gotta say.
Yeah. So, and also, I mean,
It's 'cause of drugs.
a dirty floor. It's like more, etc. Like I don't do it.
Get to
in
the
public.
question.
Yeah. So my question is, what is y'all's bathroom routine like?
Pooping style.
As far as like the pooping style, yeah. Are you a fast pooper, or do you read stuff in there? Do you get distracted, et cetera, et cetera? Do you take your pants off fully? Do you get comfortable? Yeah.
Are you, I have to ask,
Details.
are you the guy who posted this on Reddit the other day? Because I don't know if you saw, but there was a Reddit post asking, I think it was one of those Am I the Asshole posts, that was like, am I the asshole for taking my pants off all the way when I poop?
That's hilarious. I know it was not me. But...
I don't even look on Reddit that much, but I definitely saw that one, and I'm like, oh shit, is that Lou? Was that you?
Okay, so Lou,
Yes.
I will mostly poop with my pants around my ankles.
Okay.
Occasionally, when I am got time and at home and relaxing, no pants pooping is the better method.
Okay.
Short and sweet. Good answer.
Yeah. How about you, Chris?
I will say, I can agree with that too. Like if I'm home, and I can just slip off and be comfy, sure. I will say, and this is one of those situations where when I was a kid or growing up, when you're a good opportunity to take a little fucking alone time is taking your time in the bathroom. you know, like read a book, get a little peace and quiet from your mom or brother or dad or whoever, you know. And so I got like a reputation for being a person who takes forever to use the bathroom within my family.
Do you poop with your pants on or not, Chris? Damn.
I answered that part of the question already. This is a part of... Lou had a multi-part question. He wanted to know your other habits. And all I gotta say is, yes, I have this weird reputation within my family to this day. Oh, Chris takes forever to poop. That's not the case. It was just that I wanted fucking, you know, a little peace and quiet from my crazy family, which I'm sure most of us can relate to.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're done here. Thank you for joining Mike's Hard Gamecast. Boom! Cue the goddamn music.
Mike's gotta go. He's gotta poop! Actually, I also have to poop.
Me too. Wow. We've synced our poop cycles, you guys.
This podcast brought to you by those things that protect your nether bits.
GetAthreads.com. Wipe your buttholes.
Keep your buttholes clean so you can wear...
Getathreads.com. Protect your nether bits with nerdy clothing.
Wipe your buttholes.